With the COVID pandemic very much in the news, retail under even more pressure, I thought let's talk retail with someone who knows about the caper, a retailer himself, long-time retailer, Jack Zervos, who's part of Phonetabulous. Jack, welcome to TheInformer.
Thank you, George. Always good to speak.
These are very, very tough times for a whole bunch of people, and retail right in the gun.
Look, I think as a society, as a country, as a world, I think we all face the same pressures. What we're learning is that the consequences of globalization is when one part of the world hurts, it permeates to every part of the world, whether it's a conflict, whether it's a pandemic in this case, whether it's some kind of social unrest. The isolated insular world of the 50s and 60s had its problems. By definition, we were isolated, and we were protected from a lot of these things that were happening, always happening, but we never saw them. Today, when one part of the world catches a cold, we all sneeze together. And I think this is probably the first time in history we've really seen the consequences of something like this happening, at least since the Second World War.
Just to try and get a new business up and running at this time of the COVID pandemic, what advice do you have, and what should people be trying to do that they aren't already doing?
Look, I think, George, that's one of the challenges. I think any small business person is faced with this perception that, they're doing things wrong. There's consultants that will tell you, without disrespect, consultants that, we can solve all your problems, we can identify your pressure points, we can identify your process inefficiencies. That's predicated on the assumption that they actually exist. Small business people out there, aren't doing things as best they can, obviously limited by knowledge, experience, also capital. And the challenge is, how do you run a business and improve a business? Or in your question, how do you start a business and improve a business? And currently, under normal circumstances, not under these extraordinary circumstances. And I think fundamentals don't change. Do you have a product or service that the customer wants? That's fine. Do you have a product or service that the customer needs? And the real challenge in 2020 is that if you peel the emotion away, 99% of the customers in our wonderful country really don't need anything. And I know that sounds quite confronting, but if we stop and pause for 30 seconds and ask ourselves, right now, if you look around our workplace, our home, our families, and this is the reason this is the greatest country on earth, do we really need a new watch, a new washing machine, a new fridge, new carpet, new curtains, even food in our fridge? We're blessed in this country that most of them are full most of the time. So challenge in retail is demand. Consequential challenge is having the capacity to pay. So we're in an environment, probably for the first time again since the war, where because of the sacrifices of our parents and our grandparents, and because of a lot of things all aligning in this great country, we really don't need anything. So when demand is artificial at worst, superficial at best, therein lies the challenge. So we then need to create a false need. Once we establish that need, we then need to be able to create the capacity to pay for it. What we're faced with for the first time is greater conflict, greater demand for that capacity to pay than we have the ability to satisfy. And I'll give you some examples that we can all associate with. If you go back 30 years, our parents probably had one car in the family, if at all. We had one TV, probably black and white. At some point in the mid-70s, it became colour. We then bought our first video recorder, which meant we needed to buy videos. If we fast forward today, each house has typically 4 phones. My mum, dad, 2 kids, 4 phone plans, Netflix, Foxtel, Optus, 3 or 4 TVs, a spare fridge, which not only draws electricity but needs to be filled. So we're now filling 2 fridges for whatever reason. 2, 3, 4 cars in the driveway, 2, 3, 4 registrations and insurances. So we haven't even got to the shopping centre yet. Regardless of what demand we might create for our newest mobile phone or our newest pair of headphones or our newest Air Jordans. We haven't even got to there yet before we've had to pay to sustain what today becomes our new normal, our 4 or 5 cars, our 4 or 5 phones, our streaming services, our cloud, iPlay, all the Instagram, all the other things that all take money, our home internet. And if you add up the monthly spend for all these things, there is no way in the world that wages, the compensation has grown anywhere near in proportion to the things that we've created, the consumer demands that we've created for ourselves. We will never have enough money to satisfy them all. So then we go to credit. So we're now funding credit to satisfy this artificial need because we've convinced ourselves we need all these things. And we still haven't got to the shops yet. That's the environment that we're starting all new businesses in, whether it's retail, whether it's hospitality, whether it's food, whatever the new business is in, whether it's services. So how, going back to your question, how do you do it? We've got more and more people doing it. Everyone wants to work for themselves. We've outsourced, we've made people redundant, we've given them packages. So you've now got this huge new class of self-employed people who are out there literally trying to buy themselves a job. Couriers, franchise lawn mowing, house cleaning, all these small business people are really unemployed employees looking to generate an income through being a small business owner. So we've transferred the burden of employment from the public service, inefficient it might have been, from government-owned enterprise, we sold all that off, where people had jobs for life, rightly or wrongly, to now having a huge new class of self-employed owner-operator franchisees providing a service or providing food or providing something, essentially trying to make a living and earn a wage in an environment where the demand for that wage is far greater than ever before. So how do you do it?
I was going to say everybody who's getting into the business is hoping to capture that magic in a bottle, that idea or that service that no one's seen before, or we're doing it better than ever before. So there's the challenge. Is it all doom and gloom? And we haven't got much time left, but is there light at the tunnel? That's what I want to know.
Look, I think the fundamental hasn't changed. Be the best in whatever you do. And that's not a motherhood statement. Whether you're a one-man band, whether you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 500 stores, if you cannot be for those customers that interact with you, whether it's in your little strip shop, whether it's in your shopping center, whether it's in your network or your cluster, whether it's online, if you cannot be the best in what you do, you will not attract, retain, and have repeat customers. And that more so than ever before. Now, however you want to define best, whether it's quality, value, service, training, merchandising, you have to stand out from the crowd. Not about being omni-channel and online and fancy fit outs and all the rest of it. It's that Rubik's Cube I always talk about. It's about getting your 6 sides all in the same color, so that every customer that comes to you for whatever reason, because they're being referred, because they've had a wonderful experience, because it's been memorable, keeps coming back and tells other people. And if you cannot be the best, whether it's best position, best rent bill, best trained staff, best product, best value, then don't do it.
And on that note, we end the story. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much, George. Cheers.